My name is Kent Chandler. I'm chairman of the Kentucky Public Service Commission, and I'm also the chairman of the Kentucky State Board on Electric Generation and Transmission Siting. This meeting is being recorded for the benefit of the public, the record, and in order for the other siting board members to review and consider in their consideration of this case. We're here today to take public comments in the application of Russellville Solar LLC to construct an approximately 173 megawatt alternating current photovoltaic electric generating facility in Logan County. Pursuant to the question that was asked earlier, public meetings in these cases are not required. The siting board can choose to have them upon request of 3 members of the public. More than 3 members of the public requested this public meeting, and this is approximately the 3rd or 4th public meeting that the siting board has held for siting board cases related to solar generation. To reiterate the point made during the overview, the role and obligation of the siting board is to review applications and grant certificates, if approved, for the construction of electric generating facilities greater than 10 megawatts and the transmission lines proposed by entities not regulated by the Public Service Commission. We understand in any case proceeding proposing the construction of such a project that there may be strong feelings and opinions. We ask that you provide comments today, and when you do so, you are respectful and mindful of the time limit for each speaker. We are here to listen. The applicant is not presenting during this public meeting. Parties have their opportunity to make their case during the pendency of this matter. This, though, is an opportunity for members of the community in which the solar project is proposed to be built to state their positions, concerns, and provide the siting board comments for its consideration in this case. Again, the siting board is here to listen. During today's comment sessions, we will not be answering questions. The siting board is the fact finder and decision maker in this case, and as such, the board members are unable to comment or speak to the process or substance of the pending application. In this sense, we are similar to judges. Nevertheless, questions you raise during your comments may well be of assistance to the siting board and its staff in adjudicating this matter, including at the evidentiary hearing we will have later. If you have questions for the applicant, you may ask them during this public meeting with the anticipation and hope that they can later convey an appropriate answer outside of this public meeting. Contact information for the applicant can be received by calling the Public Service Commission at the information provided at the front desk. That is the same place that we can also give you information on the entirety of the case. Given the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Given the number of comments that have been proposed, we'll be limiting public comments to 7 minutes apiece. When you've gone for 6 minutes, I will raise this green envelope to let you know that you have 1 minute remaining for your comments. I'll mention this again at the end, but as always, written comments can be made to the siting board about this case at any time while the case is under consideration. But we ask that your comments include your name, your address, and that they state the case number, which again in this matter is case number 2021-00235. Again, in addition to this opportunity to provide public comment, you can mail public comments to the Kentucky Public Service Commission. You can email comments to the Kentucky Public Service Commission. And you can provide comments through our website at psc.ky.gov. In addition to this public comment session, as Mr. Young mentioned, prior to the evidentiary hearing in this case, at 9 a.m. on, I believe is it a 9 a.m. hearing? It's a 1 in the afternoon hearing. At the beginning of the hearing, which would be 1 Eastern in this case, we'll also open it up for people to call in and provide public comments. The information to be able to do that will be on our website, and we just ask that you let us know the day before or the day of your interest in providing public comments, and we'll do the same thing. We'll give you 5 to 7 minutes to provide your comments, and those will be included in the case record for consideration, take under advisement and consideration in this case. At this time, we'll begin. You may see me writing up here. That's just for my own personal notes so that in addition to having a video, I can record what the individual comments are for my own consideration. Again, 7 minutes, and at 6 minutes, I'll raise the envelope. We will go by the time in which folks signed up to indicate whether you're interested in speaking. The first person that indicated their interest was Alicia Douglas. Sure. And if you will, please come to the microphone. I just ask again, well, we've already got your name and address, so we don't need that. You just introduce yourself, and then you'll have 7 minutes, and I'll be timing you as well.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. In Logan County, we care about our community. We care about our families, our farmers, and our land. So I have some questions. First, I would like to know where the solar panels are coming from. Are they manufactured in America, or do they come from somewhere else? In southern Kentucky, we don't have weather that's very compatible with solar panels, such as large hail, constant tornado threats. Additionally, we have more often than not cloudy and rainy days through the year than bright sunny ones like today that reduce the efficiency of solar panels and their output. Will this solar farm produce enough energy to offset the cost to operate and maintain itself? Speaking of maintenance, solar panels do not last forever. How often will these panels need to be replaced due to damage, aging, and failure? When the panels are replaced, what happens to the old ones? Are they dumped along with their toxic materials into landfills? I'm going to read some from the book Reliability and Ecological Aspects of Photovoltaic Modules, written in 2020. Solar cell manufacturing process involves a number of harmful chemicals and the release of greenhouse gases such as nitrogen trifluoride. These panels contain heavy metals and toxins such as indium, arsenic, lead, selenium, and cadmium. These are all found in the panels. These materials must be handled and disposed of properly to avoid serious environmental and human health problems. What procedures are going to be in place to ensure these toxins will not make their way into our water supply, our soil, and our air? Additionally, are you certain that these panels will not contribute to life cycle global warming? How do you plan to keep our community safe from the realistic threat of the toxins and waste associated with this solar farm? Who will hold this company accountable for maintaining proper safety measures? How will you work to prevent life cycle global warming when these panels need to be replaced, and they will need to be replaced? Can you assure the people of Logan County and your backers that this project won't become one of the many failed solar farms that have not lived up to their expected projections? Thank you.
The next individual that signed up to speak, it looks like Steve Thor. There, Steve, if you would.
Yeah, I'm Steve Thor, and I'm assuming that this project is part of the movement to begin to replace fossil fuels with solar energy. I have some of the same concerns that she expressed. Number one, my understanding is that the capacity factor for solar energy is about 20 to 30%, which would mean that we'd have to cover about a third of our country with solar panels to cover our energy needs in this country. As she's already mentioned, there's tremendous pollution involved with the production of solar panels, with the mining of lithium and other elements to create the batteries for energy storage, and then replacing panels. I read about a 25-year replacement cycle. For the batteries, about 10 years. So what happens to all the toxins that are in those products? They go in the landfill. What's going to happen with that? The last factor I'm concerned with, my understanding of solar energy is that the amount of resources, particularly financial, that's needed to promote these projects requires some kind of government subsidies. That means taxpayers. And I'd like to know, that'd be my question, how is this going to affect the taxpayers of this area? Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person that signed up to speak is Brian Loader.
Good evening. My name is Brian Loader. I'm an attorney representing the Vick Family Trust with respect to its opposition to the project proposed by Russellville Solar, LLC. It has been requested that I read the following comments tonight on behalf of my client, as they're unable to be here. The questions, concerns, and feelings of the Vick Family Trust relating to this proposed construction are well documented in the case file. For a number of reasons, we are asking the Kentucky Public Service Commission to vote no to the request to construct this proposed facility in Logan County, Kentucky. The first issue is simple. There's no evidence whatsoever that this proposed facility is needed in Logan County. Just because an out-of-state group of people and foreign entities want to come to Logan County, Kentucky and destroy prime cropland for no productive reason other than corporate profit is clearly reason enough to stop here and simply say that this proposed project cannot proceed as presented. Make no mistake about it, this project is about carbon tax credits and the sale of same. On this issue alone, we ask the Kentucky Public Service Commission to vote no to this project. The second issue is also simple. The evidence submitted by Russellville Solar to the Kentucky Public Service Commission clearly shows that they do not understand the land concerns associated with the project site. The cut and paste environmental assessment plan demonstrates that Russellville Solar does not have the understanding or ability to construct a responsible project on this prime farmland. Out-of-state crews are still working on the land to understand its characteristics. There have been no construction, maintenance, or decommission plans submitted with regard to the proposed project. It would be wholly irresponsible for such an unnecessary and poorly planned project to be approved. Thus, a no to the construction of this property, vote to the proposed project is imperative. The proposed project brings no economic benefit to Logan County or Kentucky. In fact, this project will cause a huge economic drain in Logan County. There will be a significant loss of employment due to the cessation of farming operations, and to our knowledge, no Logan County employees will be hired in connection with this project. There will also be a massive loss of property tax base. Logan County will not prosper from this project, it will suffer. There should be an economic benefit to any project, but this project provides none. Foreign entities should not be allowed to come to Kentucky and drain the economic life from a thriving farming community for no reason other than profiteering. Therefore, we ask the Kentucky Public Service Commission to protect the economic stability and way of life in Logan County and vote no to this faulty, ill-conceived project. It should be of great concern that no one appears to have any responsibility or liability in this proposed project. After a full review of the plans submitted, it is obvious that numerous costly consequences will likely result from it. There are 1,500 acres being proposed to be removed from Logan County's agricultural economy, with more surely to follow if this project is approved. However, the project does not state who is responsible for the general maintenance of the solar panels with respect to wind, storm, or any other damage. The environmental assessment provided does not state who is responsible for properly removing the panels, which contain dangerous elements and chemicals. There is mention of 2,000 head of sheep being placed on the land to help maintain it, but there does not appear to be a plan for who will maintain the herd of sheep. There does not appear to be a plan to monitor, contain, and control the surface and groundwater runoff, both during and after construction. There's no study on how the project will impact farmland and homes adjacent to the solar farm, or what compensation will be provided to adjacent landowners whose property values will significantly decline. The occupied home located on the Vick Family Trust property is not even listed in the environmental assessment. Furthermore, there are concerns regarding the cemetery in the middle of the project site and the archaeological destruction of former Cherokee Nation land. The fact that there will be no one to hold responsible or liable for the plethora of consequences is a sad truth for the citizens of Logan County. The fact that we know dire consequences will come and that no one will be responsible for the harm to Logan County is enough for the Kentucky Public Service Commission to protect the citizens of Logan County and stop this poorly planned project before the damage is irreversible. It's so often said that because there's no planning and zoning policies in Logan County, that a landowner can do whatever they want with their land. This seems to be true for foreign entities coming to Kentucky, but not for taxpaying citizens of Logan County. The Vick Family Trust should be given the same privilege and be allowed to continue its successful crop farming operation in its current state and not be damaged or altered by a faulty, ill-conceived, and dangerous project. We believe that Logan County and the Kentucky Public Service Commission should not be in the business of bailing out ill-conceived hoax projects conjured up by entities foreign to Kentucky. There's no real economic benefit from this project to Logan County or Kentucky, and a green light for this project is sure to negatively impact row cropping operations on some of Kentucky's finest farmland. We've been told so many times from public officials in Logan County that this project is a 100% go. We've been told so many times that the Kentucky Public Service Commission has already approved this project. If the deal is in fact done, we respectfully ask the Kentucky Public Service Commission to inform the citizens of Logan County of such news so that we can move our grievances to a different forum. If this is not the case, we respectfully ask the Kentucky Public Service Commission to truly review the proposal and vote no on the merits of this ill-conceived project. Developers of this project could not have chosen a worse site in Kentucky. It seeks to turn a large portion of some of the country's most cherished farmland into unmanaged solar fields. We truly appreciate the professionalism of the Kentucky Public Service Commission. We thank you for giving the citizens of Logan County a voice today in this serious matter. Without your help and attention, the citizens of Logan County would not have been heard, and no one would have been aware of these dangers facing Logan County and Kentucky. We respectfully request that you vote no and stop this proposed project before the way of life in Logan County, Kentucky is significantly and irreparably harmed. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person that indicated they were interested was two folks, and they can speak individually if they'd like. That'd be, it looks like Mark or Mac and Connie Hall.
I'm Mark. Or Mac. It doesn't matter.
I say sometimes I know I've been called Mark.
Yeah, that's right, sir.
All right. So, Mr. Hall, you'll have 6 minutes. I'm going to start the clock here, or reset it. Start whenever you'd like.
Okay. Are we going to have, before you start the clock, are we going to be able to have any questions for anybody from the Silicon Ranch?
So, as earlier as I noted, if you have questions, more general questions that you would like them to answer.
Yeah, I just want to know how big the substation's going to be and
Well, so you
things.
can ask those questions on the record today.
I don't want to use my 6 minutes up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can ask them today and hope that they hear it, and also put them on the record that those are questions that you have, or you can wait until after your comments. And I do believe somebody indicated earlier that they think somebody from the applicant is here. It's certainly up to you.
Okay, thank you. My name's Mark Hall. That's my wife, Connie. We purchased a small farm at 515 Marion Acres Road on the outskirts of Russellville over 35 years ago. This is where we live and where we raised our family. As the seasons passed, we have enjoyed watching the crops grow and living the country life. Considering the location and the fertility of the land, we always believed the best use of the land was crop production. We never imagined that our community would be transformed into a power generation facility. Our family objects to the construction and installation of the solar farm. We offer the following points to support our position. Number one, unsound economics. While owners don't have unlimited rights with respect to land use, we believe that owners' interests should be the primary consideration in most cases. In this case, however, the landowners are induced to convert high-value farmland by artificial financial incentives outside of the normal market. The project's viability is held together by subsidies, set-asides, credits, and other financial gimmickries. In summary, the project is not based on sound economics. This project is viable only under the guise of being better for the environment. It is important to note that the construction of solar panels and batteries have significant environmental consequences. The production of rare earth metals and copper require many tons of excavated soils from open pit mines. The manufacture of these components requires petroleum or coal fuels to refine the materials. The panels may produce green power, but the creation of the panels is very ungreen. The introduction of sheep grazing under the panels does not disguise the adverse environmental attributes on the project. They're trying to make it look like the Garden of Eden is what I'm thinking. If TVA needed solar power, it would have already installed it. TVA would much rather have immediately dispatched power generated from clean natural gas. We must only look down the road a few miles to Clarksville to see how a similar government-subsidized program wasted hundreds of millions of tax dollars to build a solar factory that was obsolete as it was being constructed and never even opened. Russia and the Ukraine produce a preponderance of the world's wheat and other foodstuffs. The ongoing war in Central Asia will inevitably create inflation, grain prices here in America, and potential famines in other parts of the world. Is this a good time to remove fertile land for grain crops? With inflated grain prices, the agricultural value of this land may increase significantly. We understand that the landowners face a tough financial decision. If Connie and I were offered sufficient compensation, we might just decide to take the money, pull up stakes, and move. That would be a difficult decision, but we would at least have the financial means to recreate our homestead somewhere away from solar farms and other industrial development. Setting aside the economic argument, there is the question of where a solar farm like this one would be installed. Western Kentucky has many acres of mining, reclamation, brownfields, and underdeveloped hillsides. There are much better siting choices than prime Logan County farmland. Just like any building projects, there are good locations and bad locations. We contend that the edge of our family farm is a bad location. We hope that the owners offering to provide leases can profit by leaving their land in crop production. That would be good for them and allow us to maintain the agricultural environment around our family farm. We hope the committee will agree that the siting of the solar farm at this location is a poor choice, even in the absence of any economic objections. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your written comments as well. Thank you. Ms. Hall, would you like to speak? Sorry, Connie Hall.
We're not kin, but we
No,
don't,
we're neighbors.
we're neighbors, but we're relatives too.
I just have comments. Okay. My name is Connie Hall, Mark's wife. We do live on 515 Marion Acres Road. The solar farm will be, as farmers know, one field behind us. So every day when we go home, we will see this. And we won't see the lush, pretty, green wheat, corn, tobacco, whatever else like that grows, that the farmers are growing now. They're still growing there until this thing either happens or goes away. They will still continue to grow. These farmers that lease the land, they're going to have to find some other means to make their way. They're going to have to find some other farmland to lease and to work on. We are not a desert. We have lush, green hillsides. You cannot tell me that once those solar panels go in, that land will ever be the same. It will be burnt up. And as far as the sheep or goats, whatever, the coyotes are going to love them. And I believe there are deer, there are so much wildlife back there. It's going to be gone forever, because once those solar panels come in, the deer are probably going to get fried somehow or another, and the rabbits and the birds and everything. And the trees around the solar farm and the greenery around it, it's bound to burn it up too. I don't understand how anybody can see that it does not hurt Kentucky's beautiful land to do something like that, when, like Mark said, put it down there in the strip mines, that's already been destroyed. Why can solar panels not go there instead of the cropland that produces grain, food for this country, that the country needs to sustain for themselves instead of buying it from other countries? And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Looks like the next individual is John Mason and Gwen Barnes.
Yeah. Just had a few comments I wanted to mention. One of the things about it being detrimental to our community, and several people have already mentioned about our rich farming community, placing this 1,600 acres of prime tillable farmland and solar panels does not make good use of our fertile soil. Logan County is one of the top producing counties in grain production, according to the Kentucky Department of Agriculture in 2017, had a net cash farm income of over $38 million. The payroll for hired farm workers in 2017 was over $11 million, according to the KDA. That's a very large percentage of money that if these other projects that are proposed besides this one in our county, it's going to be taking away a lot of jobs potentially, and a lot of families won't be able to make money by working on those farms. And taking land out of farm production will also have negative effects on not only farmer, but farm suppliers, farm workers, part suppliers, seed, fertilizer, chemical people, and so on. And Russellville Solar also claims that they will employ between 300 and 450 local workers to construct the project, but these will, if that even happens, it will be short-term jobs, and there will be no economic benefit for hardly anybody in this area. And I wanted to mention too is Mr. Hall mentioned earlier about the war in Ukraine. On June the 1st, the United States Department of Agriculture released an email releasing the Conservation Reserve Program. For those of us that deal with farming now, it's where they take marginal ground and put it in a program and pay farmers not to produce. And they've done something that they've never done before. The USDA is so worried about this war in Ukraine and potential food shortages that they're allowing farmers to get out of those contracts early to put grain, to plant more grain and have more food. And this is marginal ground that they're talking about doing this on, not this prime ground that we're taking out of production here to make solar panels and have sheep on them. Because the potential for this ground that's being taken out is just completely a whole lot higher than what they're asking. But I just wanted to mention that the USDA is worried about that, and we should be too. And I've got some other questions that have not been answered by Silicon Ranch I wanted to ask. And one of the things is what do they propose to do about the traffic on these small county roads? It's Watermelon Road, A.P. Miller Road, Montgomery Road. It's going to be when during construction, it's going to be a big problem. What are their plans for decommissioning the solar panels at the end of the project? And then also was mentioned earlier, why are we using prime farmlands and not recovered strip mines or hills, as we were talking about, somebody mentioned earlier? And also, who is actually getting the carbon credits off this project, which I do believe, as others mentioned too, that's the main goal of this. It's not production of energy, it's carbon credits, and there's nobody in Kentucky that's going to get credit for this. Nobody in Logan County. And also I read on the PSC report, one of the filings under the case number about the Cherokee Nation had asked this project halt, and I was wondering if there's any new evidence to that about the Cherokee Nation, whether they supported it or were still against it. And then also at the end of this project, how do you return the soil to a tillable state if that was an option? And how can we plan to feed the world if we take up all of our good producing farmland to build solar rather than grow food? And also, how can we guarantee the citizens of Logan County that there will be no health-related issues as a result of living close to these solar projects? I would like to ask that the PSC and the siting board vote against this, and to be sure and read all the documents in the case before voting and be informed and understand what is at stake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barnes, would you like to provide a comment? No? Okay.
I've got a couple of comments that I forgot that I would just like, a question that I would like answered.
Can we come back to you at the end? Give everybody else an opportunity. All right, thank you. And is it a rhetorical question or a question to the... Is it a question to me?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
About Silicon Ranch.
That's fine. Terry Hall. Thank you. Terry Hall.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Carrie Hall. My family is from here in Logan County, but I currently live in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I don't have anything prepared today, and I'm so proud of the people that have spoken and what they have brought to the table here. I have concerns. My family has been approached from another company besides Silicon Ranch to provide solar panels. However, we have concerns as well. because we have done grain farming for quite some time. My concern is also pollution. What happens to other adjacent farms in the area if they don't go in with contracts? What happens to their land? Is there any type of spill-off, pollution, any kind of after effects that would happen to our land that would prohibit the continued use of row cropping for farm or grain purposes? Another concern that I have is that we have talked to a farmer in Hardin County, Kentucky, who has been allowed through the Zoning and Planning Commission that they have in their county to go ahead and start with agricultural constraints there, but they have overturned that, and now he has had to rezone his area for commercial. So I'm concerned about that aspect. Also, I think things are different than they were in 2021. I'm also an educator, and I teach children, and I think I see very many global things happening across our world, and I feel that in order to be responsible, it can't just be about the farmer. It cannot just be about Logan County. It cannot just be about someone making enough money, their own farm. It has to be also an interest for the good of all people, for the good of your community, for the good of feeding people, for the after effects that will happen to our land if we do not consider things wisely. We've also found out from some of the military that I work with in the Fort Knox area that Ireland is under constraints there, that they've been asked to provide subsidies to those countries to stop producing grain. So the United States, in effect, has been requested by other nations to try to pick up the slack from what the Ukraine, which is considered the second largest producer in the world, to produce grain. So I think things are changing, and I think the feeling that I have is so much in line with what others have said today. Would it be smarter and more prudent for us to consider other land that is not as necessary to provide that grain to such a large amount of people? Even though I could benefit, my family could benefit financially from that, is that really the right thing to do? Is it the ethical and moral responsibility of farmers to do that in this situation? So I want to say thank you for attending today, for all the people here, and also nothing against solar power. I think there is a place for that. I totally agree with solar power. I'm just not sure if this area is where to put that. Thank you so much.
There's another hall. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with cursive. At 554 Montgomery Road. All right.
I'm her mother.
I'm sorry. Is it an S or a J?
Pardon?
Does it start with an S or a J? Your first name?
Janet.
Janet. Okay, it is a J. Well, that's great. All right. Well, I had that. So, Ms. Hall, 7 minutes, and you can start whenever you'd like.
I probably won't take 7 minutes, but I'm alarmed at the entire thing because I have had not just one, but three different companies approach me for the last 3 to 4 years, and I have not gone along with them because I know how poisonous this can be and what it's going to do not only to the land that it's on, but it would do fracture to everybody around. And I'd like to see that that doesn't happen for the future of what is to come. I do know of a place in Indiana where a farmer had this, and they bellied up, got so far and bellied up, and they still to this day do not have the land to make money on, to make a living on, or to sustain themselves. So I think, because they're not even able to the expense of what it was going to cost the farmer to get the problems that were left to them to solve. And I think we need to look very closely to this sort of thing because, I'm right next door to everybody that's doing this, so I got to worry about it along with a lot of friends. And I think that we need to take notice. And that Logan County did not have a zoning. And so it was chosen because it was a lot cheaper to environmentally cheaper for them to come and prey on us instead of somewhere else that would be a better situation. Now, a lot of these farms have what we call Pembroke land. If you know what soil is, Pembroke's the best you can have. And we have it on our farm, and we have it on a lot of the farms that are infected here. affected and infected is supposedly is what will happen. I'd like to see that Kentucky does not go along with this sort of thing. I just really feel that it's the wrong thing to do. And we're going to be another Ukraine if we don't watch out. So thank you very much. Sorry.
The next person that signed up is a Kai Hall? K Hall?
That was me. You let me speak already.
Okay, all right. So there was a Terry, Carrie, and then there's another, I'm sorry, at 1402.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so who's at 4683? Clarksville Road. 4680. Okay, all right. I appreciate it. Thank you. I would have just waited, so we could have been here all night. All right. In order, the next person that signed up is Bobby Moore. All right. Mr. Moore, you get 7 minutes. Start whenever you'd like.
I probably don't have 7 minutes.
It's always the people that go for 7 minutes and say they don't have 7 minutes.
I'm capable, but we're probably not going. My name's Bobby Moore, and I've lived on J. Montgomery Road. Well, I live on an offshoot of it all my life. My question is, has there been any traffic studies done on how much traffic it will generate on J. Montgomery Road, Watermelon Road, A.P. Miller Road? And if it goes forth with construction, will the solar farm be responsible for the repairs, or is that going to be thrown back to the county at the cost of the taxpayers? As to the 2,000 sheep, the coyotes that live on my knob cannot wait for those sheep to arrive. And the last thing I would like to say or ask is, if it's not a done deal, then why was the road paved all the way back to the site on the A.P. Miller Road when there's not 2 houses on it? Thank you.
There, Thomas Bolden. Okay.
He's got laryngitis.
And then Bridget Coots. Bridget Coots. Interested in speaking? Okay. Take your time.
I've printed off, I don't have enough for everybody, but if anybody wants to read
Oh, yeah.
what Janet was talking about, that Indiana, you want to hand them out, got one for me. I read it, and it's been a while back, that, I guess you can start it now. About the farm, and I'm sorry, I look like a hot mess, but we're harvesting wheat, I'm sweating and just come right from the field, and that's why you can have this meeting here, because if all the farmers that could be here, you couldn't have had it in Ray Stadium. You know, they are literally out there working 100-degree heat. But anyway, Jenna was talking about the Indiana deal. It was in a farm magazine, and it was just what she said was correct. And I was researching that, and a thing popped up. It was a Facebook article popped up, but then when I got to looking at it, they had a man come speak. They're really fighting it in Indiana because it's so flat out there, I reckon. You know, they just want to come in there and swoop in and take thousands upon thousands of acres, and they've had some horrible things happen. And there's a lot of people fighting against it, just like we would here. But anyway, there's one woman that, I don't know, she's a Mary Kay consultant, but she's evidently a big activist, and she had posted this on her Facebook, and it took me forever to figure out how to print it. But anyway, y'all can look at that, and I'm going to just point out a few other things.
Would you like to include a copy in the record as part of your public comment?
That's fine. That's fine.
So after you're finished, if you'll put it here, we'll make sure.
I'll get one for you. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm 51 years old, born in Logan County. We actually live in Todd now, but we farm in Logan County, a couple thousand acres in addition to what we do in Todd. And my boys own ground in Logan County. In fact, my son sold his house because it was in front of this solar panel farm. It has a devastating effects already, and it's not even here yet. It's not even here yet. That's a life-changing thing. But most everybody in this room is old enough to remember when Logan Aluminum would come in. What year was that, 81? Was it 81? Anaconda, whatever it was. And, of course, we were all devastated. My grandparents lived at Epley Station watching them tear up that beautiful farm and put that factory in. Well, God bless them that they did it. I mean, it ended up creating thousands and thousands of jobs, hundreds of thousands over the years of people with good-paying jobs and insurance that bought homes that maybe couldn't have done it and put kids in our schools. And it's been a positive thing. And, yes, that beautiful farm was sacrificed. It wasn't 1,600 acres, though, and it provided all kind of opportunity. It's the same thing being said over and over again. At the end of the day, we're not gaining what we're losing because you're not replacing it with anything positive for the community. You're going to take something out of production that you can't replace. There's nothing to replace farmers like this. It is bad stewardship of the ground to do this. And I'm really here to appeal. I feel like the landowners that decided to do this either didn't have all the facts or at the time, the money, for whatever reason, they just couldn't say no. But listen, there's so many things. I spent today looking online at stuff, and y'all bear with me because I'm going to ramble. But this was just in April of this year. The solar industry is frozen as the Biden administration investigates China. So they're saying these solar companies right now, this is in April of this year, they can't even get their stuff. They're having to stop making. They're having to quit these farms. This is like Hemlock was, except it's a different situation. China was in trouble. Trump gave them all these tariffs. And then China said, well, we'll figure out a way around it. So they got these other little dinky countries, Malaysia and Thailand, 4 other countries to make this stuff. But they're still involved. Well, Biden's found out they're involved. And now he said, hey, we're not doing any of this. We're going to impose these tariffs on you. So it's really negatively affected the solar companies. So right now, my plea is to these landowners, this would be like getting on the Titanic. This thing is going to sink. I don't know when, but it's going to sink because they are already having problems and you haven't started yet. And they're not going to particularly care because this is federal money to them. It comes and goes. They'll get out of here 5 years from now. We won't know who Silicon Ranch is. People won't remember. It'll be somebody else, It's liable to be 4 names in 10 years. This farm ground is good farm ground. My plea to these landowners is you can sell it and make a killing right now. You'll have capital gains, but you can get your money, I know, because it goes high. You can just keep it and lease it out, and you can get almost half of what they're saying you have, and keep that ground in production for your kids and your grandkids and their kids. Because at the end of the day, we may not care what we do to ourselves, but we always care what we do to our kids. It just, it does 2 things to me. It makes me so mad. We're having a great year, except it's so hot. And I know that everybody else is too, in wheat. And I was thinking about all the bushels, and I just did, estimates of what 1,600 acres would make on an average year. And listen, this ain't an average farm. Just that alone, you'd be losing over 500,000 bushels of grain in 1 year. So you multiply that times 40, that's 21 million bushels of grain that you have taken away, that you didn't replace. And this to me is just like saying marijuana, legalize that. That's a gateway drug. You'll be on this, you'll be on that. You let this company come in, I'm going to tell you what, everybody else will say, hey, Kentucky's good for the picking. You'll come in there and 1,600 acres will turn into 3,000 acres and it'll turn into 4,000 acres. Obviously, we don't want that. And I know you people had to drive up 431 to get here if you come from Nashville. I don't know how in good conscience you could look out your windows and see what I know you saw between Springfield and here and not think, dang, what are we thinking, man, doing this here? This place is beautiful. It's beautiful. Anybody'd want to live here. Obviously, what John Mason said is what I've said all along. You know, we farmed up North Logan. No offense to North Logan. You got to have a North Logan. But, man, you could put that stuff up there. I told you. You could put that stuff up there. And them people, they need that money because they haven't had productive farm ground. And they've had a hard time all their life. I wouldn't care at all to see that ground done that if they was all in agreement to do it. You know, you might have to put it on stilts and it might get wet. But them solar panels might not care if they've got wet feet. You know, I think that we need to take care of the people that have taken care of you. And the farmers, they're going to keep taking care of you. You can't eat these solar panels. And y'all need to think about that. And I really plea with all the landowners to give it some more consideration. And if you're not in dire need for that money and think you will die without it, maybe y'all can stop it. And it doesn't even have to get to this deal in Frankfurt or wherever. You know, maybe you can just say, hey, we're out. Everybody hates it. And we don't want to be hated. You know, let us out. I don't know, but I hope and plea that people will just see that in the long run, this is not the best for the community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Hall, would you like to use that the last minute you had?
Well, this is just a question.
I know, but if you'll make it part of the meeting and go ahead and finish it, and I can keep you within your time, and we can make sure that we can make sure it's on the video for the other siding board members.
This is basically questions to Silicon Ranch or Russellville Solar, whatever their name is today. But on May 3rd, I met a SkyTrack coming back Montgomery Road early that morning. And when I went on to town, I came back and I drove on back Montgomery Road to the Staten Farm. And they had a SkyTrack. People don't know what a SkyTrack is. It's a huge piece of equipment with forks on it. It wasn't for digging. It had forks on it. So I drove back to the back of the farm. There's wheat up almost knee high. They had the SkyTrack out in the middle of the wheat field. And I'd like to know what they were doing with forks. And I've got it on video, but I'd like to know, were you digging up tombstones or what? I don't know. And I'd also like to know the size of the substation and how much of it is going to be battery located there, because that's environmental. Well, I want to know the total size and how much battery capacity, and there's a huge spring within 200 yards of where that substation is going. And I'd like to know who's going to inspect this facility for environmental spills. Because I've got a well in my yard, and I know that water runs through there. I know exactly how it runs. And if this thing goes through, I just want to know who's going to inspect that and take. I'm sure you've got an answer for somebody's going to do it. And how are we going to know that it's being done? Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's everybody I have that indicated they were interested in speaking when they signed in. Is there anybody that signed in that didn't initially indicate that they were interested in speaking and would like to provide comments now for consideration? Okay.
Can we have extra time?
So you do have extra time. So as I mentioned earlier, there's 3 ways to provide written comments to the Public Service Commission. I know some of you have. I know we got initial comments from the Halls, I believe. Again, and we can give you this information, but I'll just put it out there. This video will be posted to the Public Service Commission website. It will be in the case. You can go back and watch this later if you need this information. The information I'm about to tell you, our attorneys can also provide it to you. We can send you right there. But the 3 ways to provide written comments to the PSC are this. The first is through a letter, just written, mailed comments. The Public Service Commission's website, if you're wanting to write this down, is 211 Sower, S-O-W-E-R, Boulevard, S-O-W-E-R, 211 Sower, and that's Frankfort, Kentucky, and the zip code is 40601. Frankfort only has one zip code that I'm aware of. So that's the first way that you can provide comments. The second is there's an actual form on our website that you can provide comments on any case. You just indicate what the case number is, which I'll tell you in just a minute. There's a form that you can fill out and provide as much comments as you would like, as many times as you would like. You can also email comments. We have an email address specifically dedicated to public comments for cases. That email address is just psc.comment. Again, it's psc.comment, comment, @ky.gov. We ask that whichever one of those three ways you provide written comments, if you're interested, that you indicate your name, your address, and then the case number. So the case number in this case that you need to reference so that we make sure it gets in the case record for all the siting board members can see them is 2021-2021-00235. And frankly, you don't have to go and put all that extra stuff. You can put in just 21-235 if you really wanted to. 21-235. And it'll get to where if any of those three ways, it'll eventually get into the case record. When is the hearing in this case? June 30? Yeah, it's a Thursday, right? Yeah. So on Thursday, June 30th is when we're having the evidentiary hearing in this case. It starts at 1 p.m. Central. No, 1 p.m. Eastern, excuse me. It starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. And again, the instructions in order to provide public comments, oral public comments ahead of the hearing will be on the front page of the Public Service Commission website that morning. There will be a phone number, an email address. You just contact us and say, I want to provide a comment. We'll have a list. We'll call your name, and you'll be able to, again, provide 5 to 7 minutes of public comment before that hearing.
There were calls made from Florida, from other places, and people, were out of pocket, and none of those were answered. None of the phone calls that went in were answered that day. It was back in March.
So our office is open from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock Eastern every day. And if you don't get somebody, there is a voicemail to leave a message that somebody will contact you.
These weren't even answered.
Okay. So our phone number, I know our phone number. It's the 564-3940. Yeah. So our phone number, and it has a messaging system if you call after hours, but it's 502-564-3940. So if you call that number and nobody picks up, it should send to voicemail. And then somebody will call you back and make sure they take your public comment or to give you the information to send you in the right place. So, all right. So last call, is there anybody that would like to provide public comment on this? Okay. And again, if you have any questions about how to provide public comments to the case, Heather and Justin can provide you that information. They can send you to the correct place on the website, and you can do all that. Yes, ma'am?
I would just like to ask the crowd, how many of you were aware of the website prior to this meeting? The psc.ky.gov. I asked the paper to publish the website. They did make the ad on the front of the newspaper, but did not provide your website. That's the only way these people are ever going to know what's happening to their county.
Thank you.
Is to be updated by our newspaper and get that website out there, because it is valuable information in there. Not only from our perspective, but from their perspective, and you know what questions to ask.
Okay.
Can we attend this hearing? Is this open
You can.
to
It is.
everyone?
We have a, yes.
Could
The
people
answer is
attend,
yes.
on a Zoom call, or could they attend?
So, yeah, that's a helpful question. Thank you. So all of our hearings are streamed live on YouTube, real time. And so you can just go to our website. There's a link at the very front page. Any day that we have a hearing, you click it, it sends you straight to our hearing, and you can watch it live on our website. Yep. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all very much for your time and attention. And again, if you have any questions about the procedure of the case, how to get information on it, again, the folks on our staff will be able to help you with that. Thank you all very much.